Welcome back. We're very happy to continue with our reflections for the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time. As we have beeping going on. Last week we had them setting up for the festival. Always some noise here we're dealing with. This morning the power went out some places and not others. It's twice. It's very exciting. So we'll see if that happens today. We're good. If the light starts flashing, don't worry. It's normal for us. I was saying that we had like 1,000 views, which we don't normally hit, never before actually, and then like 65, and then like 1,000. So every other week you're watching, that's good. But every week someone comes up to me and says, don't stop doing those or keep doing them, and thanks me for doing these. We started during the pandemic. You've heard me say this before maybe, but we're going to continue doing them because people seem to like them. And also it's important for us to have as many people come to Mass on Sunday as possible, having already thought about the readings. So you get a much more rewarding experience if you're praying over the readings before Mass on Sunday with us. So there you go. Teresa, without further ado, Luke's Gospel, the 23rd Sunday in Ordinary Time.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Great crowds were traveling with Jesus, and he turned and addressed them. If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Which of you wishing to construct a tower does not first sit down and calculate the cost, to see if there is enough for its completion? Otherwise, after laying the foundation and finding himself unable to finish the work, the onlookers should laugh at him and say, "This one began to build, but did not have the resources to finish." Or what king marching into battle would not first sit down and decide whether with 10,000 troops he can successfully oppose another king, advancing upon him with 20,000 troops? But if not, while he is still far away, he will send a delegation to ask for peace terms. In the same way, any one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. It's not enough that we take the class and do the work and sit there. The old story about the person who says, I'm so-and-so's student, and then they go ask the teacher, and he goes, well, he took the class, but I don't call him one of my students. It's one of those differences that seems very insignificant, that is really huge. If you're a follower of Jesus, you'll understand that this is figurative language. Elsewhere he says, make up with your brother before you go to the altar. Make up with him. So you know that he doesn't mean literally go and hate somebody. Anybody who hears this and goes home and says, I hate you, I'm doing what God said, is a lunatic. It's irrational and not right. He goes on to say, if you build a tower, if you want to do something, you're going to be careful. You've got to be responsible, you've got to be thoughtful, you've got to use your wits, you've got to use those things to do it in a reasonable way. And a person who is unreasonable is not somebody that Jesus, it's not a behavior that he's encouraging. So you are not my follower if you don't understand what this is about. And what this is about is he's on his way to the cross. So he's going, okay, you're going to lose things. You're going to lose things. You're going to lose things that are valuable to you if you follow me. But you have to love me more than those things, is what he's saying. I do think I've said this before, but I think Yoda said something like that too, but it was in the prequels, so we don't count any of it, but that's the way it goes. But you have to be you have to be ready to lose things for the sake of the kingdom. It's one of those things. You're going to have to make priorities. You're going to have to choose. If you have to be a disciple, not just a hearer of the gospel. The faith of millions and millions and millions of Christian people or Catholics are ones that will go and they'll say, you got to say the creed every Sunday, and you say the creed. But if you don't understand that that creed was derived from the tradition and scriptural heritage of the church, and the liturgical heritage of the church and the way that we pray, and it's not doesn't become part of you, then how good does much good does its recitation of it do? It doesn't mean you should stop reciting it, but you should understand that that describes what we believe and what we practice and who we are. It describes that. And if we're just saying the words, then are we disciples? If we're just saying, you got to go to Mass and you got to do it this way and you got to bow in these places, are you becoming a hearer and a listener, or are you becoming someone who he will recognize as his own? It is the purpose of the church is to become related to God. That's what it is. And so that you may be found related to him, that you might be his, that you might belong to him when you go to him. And in this world, proclaim with your life the coming of the kingdom. And it's something that takes all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your energy, all of your wits, and you still can't accomplish it on your own. You still need the grace of God, his power coming to you from heaven to fulfill any of it. So it's a very difficult reflection, and I'm sure that I might have even said something in here that might go, wow, I've never heard he's being, when I called people a lunatic or something like that. That's too much, it's too much. No, because you've got to look and hear and evaluate what's going on. It's kind of like what I said at the beginning. We want you to have already thought about this when you come to Mass. We want you to think about it. We don't want this to be a practice where it's a habit I have of going to Mass on Sunday. Fine, it's habitual now, but the purpose of it is to deepen your life. You have to get past that idea that if I just do this, everything will be fine. No, he says it right here. You have to lose everything. Anyone who doesn't hate their brother, anyone who doesn't have to take up their cross, anyone who doesn't take up their cross, anyone who wants to put the cross down is not worthy of me. So to be worthy of God, we have to accept that he is going to align our life to him. And aligning our life to him is one that gives us everything. It gives us everything. And people think when I say that, who aren't aligning their life to Jesus, they'll lose everything. They think that about it this way. I'm going to lose everything, I'm going to lose everything. But gaining Christ, you lack nothing. You have everything in Jesus Christ. And it's something you can't say to somebody until they experience it. But he is true liberation. True liberation. He makes you more yourself than you are already. And it's a threshold that we have to the best of our ability, cross. And sometimes we dance over it and back and forth and things like that in our life, but always being reminded every week and every time we come to Mass of some other aspect of it that should help us along the way. It's said one time, I usually say this in Christmas time, Advent, or even Lent and Easter time, but when we go around and the readings come up, we should always or occasionally say to ourselves, well, am I in the same place the last time I heard this? For me as a priest, I hear the readings, and I have similar themes that I draw from throughout my time, but I very rarely I've never said the same exact thing twice. I might say it at a different time in a different place, because it's not the same place in a circle. It's more of if it's a spiral, you're going into something more deeply, down a spiral into the life more deeply. That's a better way of looking at it anyway. So for us today, it's a little challenging. We're very literal. We would say to Jesus, just tell us plainly. Of course, in Jesus' time, they said that to him too. Tell us plainly, stop talking in parables. Why don't you just come out and say it? And No, he's speaks this way because it's the best way for us to learn. But we want him to be literal, and when we hear things like this, we oh, he's being literal, and that's a weird thing to say. Or some person whose mind is not quite right might think, well, it is. I should go out and yell it. I should have it out with my brother, you know, and everything because Jesus said so. But it's no. He's saying, you put your life in order in a way that he himself and the gospel and that cross are at the center of it. And finally, I've said this before, and I like to remind people that when pick up your cross and follow me is very similar to saying to somebody, you may not put down the cross, because if you put down the cross, what you are actually saying is, I refuse to love. I refuse to love. I refuse to be part of this, of the love of God. I refuse to be part of it. And one of the challenges when you love somebody is that when they're hurting, you hurt. We know this with our little animals. You know, Kajik had a little surgery a couple of weeks ago, and I can't even drop him off. I start crying, you know, at the vet's office, and you know how you are about your pets, and that's my cat. You know, how you are about your family members, and how I am about my parents, how about you are about your children when they're sick. When you love, no one who loves that doesn't think every once in a while it'd be easier if I didn't. And that's Jesus reminding us, pick that cross up. That's the cross. I love you, so I go to the cross, is what he would say to us. So that'll be enough for this week, and we encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, St. Benedict, and hit the like button if you like it. But as always, we're very grateful for you to have you watch this, and we'll catch up with you again next week. Thank you.